What's up, everybody? Welcome to Podcast Now Plus. I'm Alex, and in this video, I want to talk a little bit about EA, our favorite corporation, our favorite CEO, who, he just says the funniest things sometimes, doesn't he? This is a man that's said a lot in the past, and EA in general, I don't know if it's the same guy. He's been there a while, so it could be. Remember EA talking about single-player games being dead, nobody wants them, nobody plays them. That didn't work out very well. They've said some just some funny things, right, in the past. Now, he comes out, and now he talks about AI. Now, look, AI is a sensitive topic, and we've talked about, that specific element of it before. My very quick stance on it, I sadly think it's inevitable. I think the best we can do, and the best developers can do, figure out the fastest and most efficient way of working with it, right? Working with AI instead of having AI replace you. Corporations are going to push AI down the throats of these developers over the next 5 years. There's really no stopping it. You can't really stop it. Best thing to do, work with it the best you can and just do your best to prevent it from losing your job. I mean, truly, that's where I think we're going out of necessity. These developers are going to have to do these things to avoid, being taken out by machines and stuff. But all right, well, what's he saying this time, right? So you may have seen around the thing of 60% of development processes could be impacted by generative AI. Now, this is, in terms of the article quality, there's nothing wrong with it. This is a terrible, it's a terrible article in the sense of the information that's coming out of his mouth, right? So this was a Q&A session, and he basically talks about the impact of AI, and he says some very funny things. He basically talks about, the title is true, right? He basically says they've done like an analysis of the company, and they have found out that 60% of what they do when they make games could be impacted in some way. AI could help it, speed it up, those kind of things, right? 60%, which to me very much sounds like they're making way for, hey, 60% of you, could be in a bit of trouble here, right? Because there's a lot that could happen. So that, to me, that's the big takeaway, but he also says things, and right here, actually, we're going to read this part. The thing about efficiency, this is really about how do we make what we do today more efficient, and for anyone who knows about our business, it's an incredibly iterative development cycle and incredibly time-consuming, which is why games now take 6-7 years to build. We've done a study across all the processes, and about 60% have it. Now he talks about AI, right, in terms of impacted by generative AI. Now, an example of that might be how we build a stadium in one of our sports games. That would typically take us 6 months. This past year, it took 6 weeks. It's not unnatural for us to believe that in the coming years, it'll take us 6 days. Now, he goes on to talk about 30% more efficient, right? Over these next couple years, he wants to make the company run 30% more efficient. Now, the stadium thing is hilarious to me because while I haven't played these I've played NHL. I played NHL 10 to maybe NHL 22. I played 12, 13 years straight of NHL games, but I really didn't touch the Maddens or the FIFAs, but I know what goes on. I know the performance of these games now and the lack of innovation now versus in the past. I can't find it right now, but there's a point in this article where he's talking about AI, and he mentions that they use AI in the running of Madden, that it's already kind of built in. And I laughed out, no joke. When I first saw that, I laughed out loud because if you watch, I've watched the Angry Joe reviews of Madden, the AI is some of the worst I've ever seen in my life. They don't know what they're doing. They're not smart. You have players falling over. Just literally just type in Madden, whatever year you want, Madden blank year AI, and you'll see some of the dumbest things humanly possible. And this guy has the nerve to shout it out as a positive, saying, hey, we already use AI. Look at the AI in our Madden games. They're fantastic. It's are you out of your mind? So, again, when I saw that, I started laughing. But even the stadium thing is kind of funny. The stadium, are we seriously going to talk about the stadium? You want to look at the crowds in NHL? You want to look at the crowds in Madden? What about those Madden games? Remember it was 2 years ago where they didn't change the banner and it showed the Madden year of the game previous, right? It was Madden 23, but it was showing Madden 22 or something like that. Did AI do that? Did you forget to have a person do it? So you had AI do it and they just forget. This is, again, AI is inevitable. Like, it's going to happen, and it can be used, I think, to speed things up, make things better, but you got to find a way to, like, work with it instead of having it kind of just replace you. And it sounds like, from his perspective, number one, they're already using AI to just great benefits, and that's sarcasm because they're not. And then number two, he wants to use it more than ever before when they've already proven that they don't know how to use it now. That's my biggest point, actually. Again, you're going to have to use it. It's clear that it's being used wrong right now. So he wants to have 60% of the games be used. AI has to have a part in 60%. That's not great. Then you look at what they're doing now with AI. It's not good. And he's gloating about it. And then you say, okay, well, that's going to be the future. Like, oh my dear God. Now, we talked about this with WB. We talked with, like, live service, Sony with live service. Sometimes, guys, companies, and I mean, this is kind of where I'm just getting in my head. These companies have to, well, they don't have to, they just choose to. They go through these incredibly dumb periods where they think they're doing something, they completely fails, and they backtrack. Now, I don't think you can backtrack from AI, right? Because I think it just will continue to evolve. So that's not really something, right? Like the single player games is dead thing. You can try that, fail, which they've done both, and then backtrack. And they've done all three. They completed the trifecta. For AI, you can probably pull it back a little, but it's going to be around, right? And it's going to become even more smart and probably more helpful. You know what I mean? So you can't exactly backtrack from it, but you can certainly go overboard in the beginning and fail, and then have to kind of like sort. And I think that's what's going to happen to a lot of these companies. So, sometimes it happens. These companies have to kind of run with it, see that it's not working, whether it's a complete failure, whether it's like a partial failure, and then adjust. Why do they do that? A few people have genius ideas, or they think they're genius ideas, and they're not. I mean, I can't think of any other reason, right? Because most people, I think, would see that and say, you're kidding me, right? Like the AI that powers your Madden players to run into each other or run backwards when they should. You want that AI to do 60% of the next Madden. Is that what you're telling me? And I mean, most people would look at that and laugh and say that's the dumbest decision I've ever heard, and they actually do it. They actually think that's a good idea. So let me know what you guys think. Make sure, as always, you're subscribed to the channel, bell icon turned on. I hope to see you all on the next one.